afternoon, everyone. This is Jared RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for May 23, 2024, Thursday, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a reverse aging call tomorrow night, Friday, a little after 9 p.m. Eastern. There's some things that have come up that I need to share with people that are transpiring. Actually, they've taken place, so I'm free to go ahead and share the information. You know, I was having a conversation with a being. I say being because person is not a real thing. A person is a representation of not a real thing. So being is much more substantial. Now we have this, and this is the transition that we're making as a civilization into the spiritual existence of knowing and being aware, and it involves mental discipline and focus. And since so many of us are being really challenged by the ego mind because we view and see in the eyes and the hearing and the sound and everything, many don't really look at it as, I've got to pay attention to the mind. I've got to look at the mind. I've got to step away from the mind. And I got to see how this mind's operating. Since I'm in this body, I got to know how this mind operates. And the focus, the mental discipline basically involves when you have thoughts come in. We all do. I mean, none of us are exempt from it. They flood in. It's a constant thought highway, superhighway, Autobahn. And it creates a lot of static, if you will, energetic static with us. So it's not something that we gravitate to on mental discipline or focus from the standpoint of saying, I know that these thoughts that are coming in are not mine. It doesn't mean that some of them you might embrace and bring them into your reality and experience them, but that's what part of the focus is. You focus on different thoughts that you want to bring into your life, that you want to bring into your reality. And this is where the mental focus discipline comes in. So you can kind of zero in on them and look at the underside, above it, and inside of it to see whether or not it's something that you do want to bring in. And a lot of people they're not in that awareness, so they just randomly bring in all kinds of thoughts and they create them into the reality and they experience them. This is when you're saying to yourself, this doesn't, I can't, I'm having a difficult time believing that this is my thought now that I'm experiencing it. And it sounds kind of crazy, but they're other people's thoughts. And all the thoughts on this planet stay on this planet. So you're talking millions of years of others' thoughts. And that's where our static, our noise, mental noise comes from, that that kind of burns us out at times. We get tired of it and just want to walk away and not deal with it. Say, go someplace where there's no noise. And the way to do that, obviously, in these meditations is to go into the now, is to focus on the breath rising and falling, and being, and learning how to relax into your body, into the body, okay? And a lot of us will fight that. We fight that relaxation because it's not, for us, it's not a common process. It feels foreign to us because we're not used to it. So things that we do in the spiritual realm, a lot of the times we'll feel uncomfortable with it because it doesn't seem to fit into our comfort chair. There's some things about it that we just may not like or don't feel good about. So this is why we have the mental discipline, and we look at our thoughts. So when you generate a thought, your thought is generated by the heart, mind, the God within you. which oversees the ego mind. So the thought you don't have it come in. Those are other people's thoughts. You have a thought, you create that thought, and you're focused on what that thought is. For example, when you're in meditation and you're quiet, you're still, and you're relaxed, you're relaxing into the body as much as you can, and you're listening to and watching the breath rise and fall, you are in prime, perfect position to request of the universe what your thought is, what you want. And it usually is what we want. So you do it in detail. Even if you write it down and review it, memorize it, so that you know exactly what it is that you're asking for. See, a lot of people will randomly do this, but they're not aware. They don't know they're doing it. So then they might have a thought that they send out that's kind of half-ass. They don't focus much on it. And they send it to the universe. So what happens? The universe sends it to them, and it becomes their reality. But then they go, wow, where did this come from? Where did this thought come from? Right? Because it was kind of like unconscious or subconscious that you directed that thought to the universe. Now, see, when you discipline yourself to know, this is my thought and this is what I want. And then you go through it, whatever it may be. And you only do one at a time. You don't do 15 or 20. You just do one thought at a time. You're not in a hurry. You're not rushed. You're relaxed. You're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself. And you're in deep gratitude. So you send that thought out. And then you let it go. You know? You focused on it. You put attention on it. And your energy was focused on it. And you know that you created it. It wasn't something that was created 1,000 years ago and then you picked it up. It's something that you created because you're sending it out and you're making the request. By doing this, you then move yourself into a higher spiritual vibrational frequency because you're operating from the heart-mind. And it's not like when you do it from the head, because you'll send something through the head, and it doesn't fit because it's kind of jury-rigged, so to speak. And so the universe answers it, and it could be something you don't want, okay? And you're not focused on what you're saying, because you're saying, I don't want this to happen, or I don't want this, okay? And then, of course, the universe gives it to you, because you're saying what you don't want. You're focused on what you don't want, and that's what you get. And that's why so many of us suffer. And the suffering basically is disappointment, all right, being let down. We've all been there for whatever the reason. And we're just disappointed. We're kind of let down. We thought it would happen, and it didn't happen, and we don't know why. And then all of a sudden something shows up, and we go, I didn't ask. No, you didn't ask for it. You did ask for it, but it was what you didn't want. It's like when people say they don't want their life to be the way it is right now. They want to change things, right? But they're not detailed on it. So that instead of that, they say, this is what I want in my life. This is the life I want. And there isn't anything wrong with that. Because, see, we deserve the best of everything, every one of us. And I believe because of how we've been conditioned, mostly unconsciously conditioned, we have these feelings, these guilt, and I don't deserve this, and I shouldn't be asking for this, and I'm being selfish, and I shouldn't be. You know what I'm talking about. All these things come in, and they're repetitive. And so what that does is through the ego mind, it deters us, and we back off because we don't believe that we deserve it. And so so when you doubt it, it goes away. You don't get it. You don't receive it. And this is crucial because all of us do it, until you get to a certain point where you're aware. You have mental discipline to the extent where you're saying to yourself, okay, I understand this. I know what's going on here. Okay, that's fine. But I'm going to go this way. And I want this. Here's my thought. And universe, this is what I want. And that's it. You let it go. And you'll get it. You'll get it every single time. Now, it may not come exactly the way you wanted it. It may be better. Okay? It just may be better. which is fine too, okay? Some of the things that you pinpointed with the universe when you were requesting this, come back to you even better. And when you take a look at it, when you're experiencing it, you go, wow, this is better than what I had asked for. And what does that do for us as a civilization? It increases our vibrational frequency. We don't suffer. We learn that, the place that I want to stay is the now. And when I'm in the now, I'm at peace. Okay? You're the closest to the God that you are in the now. And then you experience peace. It's a peaceful feeling. You're pretty much content. And and then your faith, confidence, and trust in yourself increases. It goes up. And then you stop doubting yourself. Okay? Because you ever get that where you have an intention, but yet something kind of convinces you where you start doubting. I don't know if I can do this, or I don't know if that's going to work. And it negates it. It just totally negates it. So actually we fight our abundance. We fight with it through the ego mind. And the interesting part, the ironic part, most of us don't even know that. We don't know we're fighting it. And so that's why things happen the way they do, and why you seem to see things that are repetitive. You go, no, this has happened before. Well, why is this happening again? Because we're in a loop. We're in a physical material loop, and it repeats itself every so often. So if you look at the past and you look at the happenings of the planet, you'll notice that things repeat themselves. This is why. We're in this loop, this thought process loop. And most of us aren't disciplining our minds, which means to master the mind and our thoughts. And what I just shared is that's how you begin to master your thoughts. Because then you begin to understand, these are not my thoughts, but hey, some of them look pretty juicy. I think I'm going to bring this one into my reality, okay? And you really look at it and you bring it in through the heart-mind, and then you experience it. And you say, wow, this is great. I'm really having a ball with this thing. So it brings us out of the material physical where we're not heavily entrenched in it. We still enjoy the material physical, but we're not in it. Okay? We're just not in it. The analogy I've given in the past is that you come across this big pool, swimming pool, beautiful, everything's nice, and there's people in that pool, but most of them don't get out. They just stay in there. You get to the point where you go, I'm going to go in the pool, I'm going to have a good time, but then I'm going to get out, and then I'm going to go on. Okay? And if I want to revisit the pool, I will. That becomes where you start to master your thoughts. Now, all those other people, they haven't even begun to master their thoughts, so they're heavily mired in the material physical. And this is why people become fearful when they're getting ready to leave the body, or they don't know. The unknown scares them. What's going to happen after I leave the body? How are things going to be? That's why. Okay? But when part of mastering your thoughts is knowing that you're not the body. The body is a temporary vessel so that you can experience the physical material world. Okay? And we're here to enjoy our lives. We're not here to fight them. And most of us are taught to fight our lives, to fight it. To fight, what you want to call it, success, or to fight wealth, and to fight it all. Fight poverty, fight wealth. I want to be wealthy, and now I'm wealthy, and now I don't feel comfortable with it. That type of thing. Because a lot of the times we're rushing. We're in a hurry, and what does that? The society does that, dictates to us. You've got a schedule, you've got this, you've got that, you've got the clock and the time, and you've got all these constraints that we put on ourselves, and we abide by them. So that's when we get frustrated and irritated, and we get stressed out, we get ornery, and it doesn't feel good. We know it doesn't feel good. Some people say this isn't any way to live. And I've talked with people that say that this isn't any way for me to live. And I say, you can change it. It's not a joke. And it really is simple, but you've got to focus on it. If you aren't willing to discipline yourself and focus on it, then you're going to keep experiencing this, and you're going to keep suffering. And is it worth it to you? You ask yourself, is this worth it? To put my energies in this stuff, all the things I don't want, I find myself telling people what I don't want. And then they end up getting it. So I'm going to shift my energy and my focus and my discipline over to what I want. Okay? And then, see, here's another thing. When people come in, you could be in a conversation, interacting, and you might say something, okay? You might say, yes, I'm going to do this, right? I feel really good about it, and I'm excited about it. And then if people say, wow, that's a huge undertaking. You really think you want to do that? I don't know. It sounds like a recipe for failure to me. See, and this is where a lot of us are controlled by what other people think. This is what happens to us. And then what happens is, if you're not focused and disciplined on the mind, they put that out there, and then you start saying to yourself, maybe they're right. Wow, I didn't think about that. Maybe maybe this won't work. See, and then you start doubting, and then what happens? It doesn't work. And then you say, I should have listened to them and not dived into it. But it's an experience. See, this is how we learn. So it's like those of us who have been playing, and right now in this very moment, I guarantee you, in this country alone, there are lots of people that are worried, that are stressing, that are in yesterday and tomorrow. They're in the ego mind. They don't know it. It's not like they're aware of it, but they keep doing it. And so they play the worrying game, and the worry game goes on for years for some people. You ever met people that it's like they're just totally encased in stress and anxiety. And so when you're communicating with them and you're conversing with them, you're going, man, all they keep saying is, what they can't do and what's happened and, how their life sucks and stuff. And you're going, I got to get out of here. You do. You go, I got to be polite, respectful, but I got to get out of here. I just can't take any more of this. It's too, have you ever been in a situation where you feel heavy? You didn't before, say, but you went in and you're interacting with certain people and you go, and then you leave and you're with yourself and you go, man, I feel heavy. I feel like I've been just sucked dry, right? So, and then you begin to understand that you come across people that are just literally worry zombies. They're just constantly worried. Whatever you say, they go, yeah, I know, but I don't know about this and I don't know about that. Boy, I'm concerned about this. So if you feel that you're not used to trusting in life and you feel numb to love, lightness, joy, or even orgasmic pleasure, you might have become a zombie yourself and not know it. And to step out of that, pull back strong on your mind's reins. It's like a horse. You've ever been horseback riding, and you get a horse that is stubborn, right? You don't know the horse. You don't have a relationship with the horse, and you just get on the horse, and it doesn't do what you want it to do. You pull on the bridle, and you try to stirrups, and you try to pull it back, and it fights you, okay? But when you get the hang of it and you say, okay, I'm going to pull back here, I'm going to pull back real strong and firm so the horse knows who's running the show. And this is your mind that you're doing this with. And you steer all of those crazy horses back into the wonderful pleasure pastures of the heart. You go into the heart mind. And when you go into heart mind, that stuff fades out. It just literally disappears. You go, wow, this is great. And you begin to realize that the energy of trust that you have for yourself grow. And you feel that one positive thing that you love in this life is here now. And you give it all of your appreciation. And you devote yourself to trusting this life. And you repeat and feel all day long that you are now trusting life. And it's a commitment. You be committed to living in a state of wonder. And this inner devotion to you will change everything for the better. In other words, you move your frequency higher. You're doing it. And you're living in a state of wonder. And again, the breath is so powerful, using the breath. This being I talked with this morning, they said that they were frightened because their breath, they had started to notice that they're breathing very shallow. This wasn't an old being. They were probably in their late 30s. And I was having this conversation with them. And they said that they noticed that they were expanding their trust in themselves. The trust that they had taken a beating. But then they were starting to feel a lot more lighter over the last few months. And using the breath to expand out of your worried mind and stress and enhance your positive state of being takes about 30 seconds to make this change. I kid you not. It takes about 30 seconds to make this change. And what do you do? Okay, so what do I do? You inhale slowly for 10 seconds. Hold your breath for 10. Don't kind of force it type thing. Or don't overdo it. Okay? Literally, what you're doing is that you inhale slowly for 10 seconds. So you're inhaling for 10 seconds. And then you hold your breath for 10 seconds. And then you exhale slowly for 10 seconds. So it's a total of 30 seconds. And you slowly, for 10 seconds, exhale, feeling trusting energy growing inside you. You practice this breath cycle for 3 minutes. You'll find yourself entering a very calm, centered state of mind with a peaceful, still awareness. You cannot find a few minutes to breathe, right? If you can't find a few minutes to breathe, even take one deep, long breath into your heart. The moment worry creeps in, stress, anxiety, fear, you'll create a more expansive, relaxed sensation in the chest. You'll be able to instantly step back from that mind of yours. This is all, see, it all connects. This is how you begin to master your thoughts. You step back from the mind. You're not judging it, you're watching it. You leave it alone. Be aware that awareness is always the main core ingredient needed for creating a worry-free, stress-free, anxiety-free mind. Anytime you find your mind beginning to go into that goop about anything, whatever it may be, retreat back into what is aware. Step back into the ever-present witness of the mind. Be the observer. Be the one watching the thoughts float by, and without participating in their drama or their story. Witnessing means having no attachment to the outcome. None. Zero. Okay? This is one of the most essential and instantly effective worry-reversing habits you can practice. People should be saying, let me at it. I want that. To permanently move your head out of the land of what? Worry, stress, fear, anxiety. You'll want to take a long, deep, honest look at what your personal issues are typically about. Why are you so attached to these particular issues and not those other things? You get curious about the subtleties around this worry habit, and you'll find out what your innermost fears are. You will too. And why they are there. What are they doing there? So what do? You explore, you investigate, and then you digest what your soul is truly longing to experience. This is about all of us getting to know ourselves more deeply and intimately. Now you must understand the different forms of false security that your ego is reaching for and why. Why is it doing that? If you ever want to fully relax into your spiritual essence and truly be free, from this perpetual search for safety the ego is constantly craving? So you're ready to create a stress-free, worry-free, fearful-free mind immediately. You make this simple, sweet commitment to explore what it's like to replace that goop with wonder. You do it for the next 7 days of your life. Turn this into a fun, empowering, new assignment that you are curious about doing. Be devoted to experiencing what life is like being full of inquisitive awe and wonder. And even if you want, write down the results. Manifest in your life from abiding in this state of perpetual curiosity. Your frequency continues to go up. You notice, you can take notes if you want, how your heart feels by the end of each day. Just by wondering. You'll see new positive opportunities and people tend to manifest in your life. And that you're naturally having more fun in this life with this open and enlightening state of mind. So what do? You enjoy it to the fullest. See, and it's a culprit. We know this. I believe everybody on this meditation call knows this, is that we all experience suffering. Different forms, different levels in this life. And because of this one little thing, ignorance, we don't know. We are not educated. We don't have the knowledge. So if you take the word ignore, I-G-N-O-R-E, add a little dance to it, you get ignorance. So when we ignore the truth of our infinite being, who and what we are in these bodies, which many do, our ignorance expands and soon transfers us onto the path of suffering. I don't believe any of us enjoy suffering. I really there might be a few unusual people that do. To transcend your ignorance and find spiritual freedom in your life again, the intention for a deeper awareness is most definitely needed. We must choose to welcome the most profound state of consciousness we can imagine by simply opening up to our own consciousness. We can release anything instantly that would make us suffer. Nothing more than pure awareness is needed for us to transcend this illusion, is exactly what it is, and rediscover the liberating truth of who we are, the God within the body. Each moment of our lives, each moment to moment, has the potentiality to become the most liberating, healing, enlightening experience we can handle. And the more open, ready, and willing we are to receive something magnificent, the easier and faster the magic comes flooding in. And when we are ready for this enlightenment, it will find us. We won't find it. It'll find us. We don't have to strive for it. In fact, this is the irony to it. A lot of people the harder you work for it, the further it moves away from you. So you kind of step out of your own way, just let it come on in. Make it your priority to totally relax and enjoy your life. And then you get the people that say, oh yeah, that's easy for you to say. Look at the crap I'm dealing with right now. How am I going to do this? How am I going to explore who I truly am? It sounds like it's really a huge undertaking. I don't have time for that. You see what we do? We talk ourselves right out of it. We suffer, and we fight the fact that we gain the knowledge on how not to suffer, to truly enjoy our life. And when we explore who we truly are and what we really, really, really want, and what our purpose on this earth actually is on a spiritual level, this is what we're doing. Life is wild, love is wild, and God is absolutely wild. Those who are wild always reach enlightenment. Osho. Reserved. If people are reserved, they hold back. You can feel it. They're holding back a lot of things from themselves. A tough one for a lot of people that have said to me that being open to the new, to new things, and releasing your ego's need to be right about anything. That's a tough one, because what do? We're always wanting to be right? Okay, ego mind. We don't like being wrong. And, they're just experiences anyway. And we want to make sure, I'm right about this. You're wrong, I'm right about this. And being right can be the hardest ego trip to get off of. And yet causes a major amount of suffering. Right or wrong, we do this. If the ego believes it is wrong about any one little thing, it starts feeling insecure. That you basically could be wrong about everything in your entire life. Whatever our mind believes is true, okay, always becomes our reality in that moment. The colored lens you perceive your world with today becomes how the world lens tends to appear for you tomorrow. If every one of us, right, everyone around you, from birth to death, says that life is this hard, painful, unfair experience, and you believe them, then how will you ever learn how to relax, let go, trust, and enjoy living in this amazing universe? When we think we must fight, to get what we want in this life, we end up manifesting a very serious, challenging ride. To experience love, enlightenment, and freedom, we must be aware and must step over our ego and be open to a completely new experience of this life in each moment. Our inner and outer world is one massive playground. Learn how to be free and have fun within your life. Think of each new day as your chance to step on a very interesting and comical life stage. You can choose any hat to wear, lens to see through, or fascinating role you desire to play. And you know something? I'm sure that you will look at this and say, that it's become abnormal for people on this planet to just relax. You noticed? Sit still. How many people you know that can just sit still? Even, I don't care if it's just for a minute. Be silent and alone. The do-doers, right? The do-doers have become the social norm on this planet. And many of us avoid meditation because they think it is boring. I don't want to do that. I don't care to do that. You know, it really doesn't really float my boat. Don't have time for it. And I tried it a few times, but I failed at it. Trying to quiet their mind after a few random attempts, see? Just few. When we realize that all of our suffering, chaos, and illness in this life is caused by our inability to quiet the mind. See, then we will spend more time practicing being present and less invested in doing something thinking it will take us somewhere better than being here now. Eventually, with enough time spent practicing being present to the now, we discover our real infinite nature inside. We realize we are spiritual beings and have everything we were looking for and so much more. The greatest mystics throughout the past all discovered enlightenment when they were simply being quiet, relaxed, fully here in the now. When their big awakening happened, they were not trying to do anything. This is the great mystery of life. Mastery of the mind is by far the greatest achievement any of us could ever make or ever have. Yet the experience of being here now, feeling one with the infinite, all-powerful, omniscient, universal God force is enough. It is empowering, highly enlightening to redefine all those old definitions of what it means to get somewhere special in your life. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose. Take an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Still focused on the breath. Be vulnerable. It truly takes a strong being to let down their defenses. Choose to be open, receptive, and available in each experience that arises today. You'll find total freedom in this juicy state. Only the courageous are truly alive. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Friday, May 24, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And around 9 p.m. Eastern, to continue our reverse aging health call and all that goes with it. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. And experience the flow of bliss.